Welcome to Autism Approved, brought to you by Enzymedica. Now here's your host, Kristen Selby Gonzalez.
Hi everyone, this is Kristen Selby Gonzalez and welcome to Autism Approved. 1 out of 91 children between the ages of 3 and 17 are being diagnosed with autism. That's 1 out of 58 boys. We knew it was more important than ever to bring you a show that offered you hope, tools, and resources. Well, today we have a very special treat for you because we are visiting a manufacturer whose cause happens to be autism. So today our guest, our first guest at least, is Tom Bohager, the owner and founder of Enzymedica. Welcome, Tom.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I am just super excited to have you because I know that Enzymedica does so many wonderful things for so many just different health-related issues, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's not just autism that the autism community that found you. Many communities have found you, correct?
Yeah, that's true.
And now, why autism? Like, why is autism your guys' cause?
Good question. Well, about 7 or 8 years ago, Enzymedica is approximately 13 years old, and about 7 or 8 years ago, we discovered that an author within the community with 2 children had mentioned our products, mm-hmm. and we started getting parents calling us and asking questions about the use of our products with their children. And so this alerted us to this reference. Mm-hmm. And what we began to do was to look into the cause itself, how many children are affected, but really how enzymes help, because we were just so new to it at the time, we weren't even sure what the connection was. Mm-hmm. And as we learned more and more, we realized that enzymes can really be a help for these children because about 80% of them suffer from severe digestive distress. And then on top of that, we have a couple of products that help with immune issues, et cetera, et cetera. So we just got very motivated to help as many children as possible based on that first relationship. Then, of course, we hired a director of autism education, and ever since then we've been much more involved. But we're just happy to be a part of something that helps so many children.
Well, and I know that it's not just in the products that you help formulate, making sure that they're pure and the ingredients don't have fillers and different things that you recommend, at least for mm-hmm. the autism community. But you've also done something above and beyond for the autism community by founding the first nonprofit that sprung from the health food industry called Autism Hope Alliance.
Right.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. The Autism Hope Alliance was founded about 2.5 years ago now, and it was designed to represent the natural foods industry. And so the natural foods industry, as we define it, are all companies, whether manufacturers or health food stores or ingredient suppliers, mm-hmm. who pull together to provide alternative, not just therapies, but supplements to people with many different needs, not just autism, but it could be anything. Mm-hmm.
It could be like celiac. It could just be sensitivities and tolerances.
Inflammatory issues. Mm-hmm. There could be even sports injuries. I mean, it could be just about anything. And really anything you would find sold in a health food store mm-hmm. would represent that industry. And so the Autism Hope Alliance, its goal is to pull that industry together because it has so much to offer families of children with autism. And it turns out that families of children with autism shop frequently mm-hmm. and spend a lot of money in these stores, often money they don't have. And so what we thought we would do, and what we're trying to do, because it's still a relatively new nonprofit, is give those families some financial support in order that they may help their children with these products that are sold in health food stores. But we've also identified some other nonprofits that we help families with as well. For example, the Autism Treatment Center of America. So we've sponsored around 50 families to attend there. Our goal initially was 100, which we will definitely reach, mark my words. But in addition to that, we're working with Generation Rescue and some others. So the goal is just to bring people together to help these families in need, whether the need's financial, whether it's biomedical, or whether they're looking for other possible therapies. We want to be able to help.
So basically, because I know, obviously I know your story, you don't have any children on the spectrum, am I?
No, I don't. I have a nephew with Asperger's, but I have 3 sons, and no, they're typical.
So this is just something that you felt in your heart that you saw a need, and it just touched you.
Yeah, and it's evolved because my first connection with autism years ago, 7 or 8 years ago, I just began to realize that our products would be of some use. Mm-hmm. But over the course of time, most recently, probably about 3 years ago now, visiting with you, the Autism Treatment Center of America, there came to be a real emotional connection with the cause. Being able to see, there was an experience I had there that literally moved me. I mean, I remember it like it was yesterday, and I saw a young girl connect with a therapist, and I was just literally blown away because this 17-year-old
Mm-hmm.
girl with autism, as you might imagine, doesn't communicate with anyone, much less a stranger. And so seeing what that particular program did, the Sunrise program, in that particular case, knowing that there is hope
Mm-hmm.
for these children, seeing it right in front of me, it connected me emotionally with the cause. And really from that point forward, Enzymedica has been a real supporter, much more so than years prior to that, of helping families, that are trying to help their children.
Well, being a mother myself of a child on the spectrum, to me it warms my heart when you see outside communities come together when it's not a personal or a direct, it doesn't affect their lives the same way it might affect mine. And to me, I feel like if we get more and more people out there doing that, we can really make a huge difference. So I think it's so phenomenal, and obviously I've worked with you and I see what you do, and it's just a warm place in my heart.
Well, I think it's fairly safe to say that just about everyone now knows someone who is personally affected by autism. That's certainly true of me. It's true of everyone that works in this company, I can assure you. And so as a result, I think that over the course of the next few years, you will see much more support than you've ever seen in the past for that very reason.
Well, one of the reasons I wanted you to be on the show was because, so often we'll see a product and we really just think of it as a product. We don't really understand the heart that goes behind that product. Mm-hmm. We don't understand the teams that go behind that product, how it even started. I mean, so many of us will look at, even take a bottle of water. Somebody had that vision to then want to manufacture that, to want to create that, and they had some passion, behind that. And, of course, I know your story, but I know many don't. How did the concept of Enzymedica even come about?
Well, I was in the natural foods industry, so I was working in health food stores. I was a sales rep for some very large brands within the natural foods industry. My wife and I owned a very small health food store here in our hometown of Port Charlotte. And I was introduced to enzymes through a book. Edward Howell, who died several years ago, wrote a book called Enzyme Nutrition. Mm-hmm. And someone gave it to me essentially as a gift, but their intent was that I be more involved in a different company, a company that's in Texas who specializes in enzyme therapy for doctors. And so I read the book, and having been trained by about 15 different companies, I remember thinking, why don't I know this? Why don't I know about these enzymes? I mean, I knew that you could take a digestive enzyme with a meal and reduce gas and bloating and indigestion, but what I was reading in this book, I had never read before. For example, that enzymes help with immune function and circulatory issues and inflammation, et cetera, et cetera. And so, but yet it made absolute sense. Understanding how enzymes work, I realized, wow, someone needs to tell this story. And making a very long story short, my brother and I put together Enzymedica with the intent of education first, sales second. And we started educating store staff in Florida about the benefits of enzymes and enzyme therapy. And we created this little tiny brand called Enzymedica. And it was, we started with 0 sales.
And what year was that?
That was 1998.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first month, we sold $18,000 worth of product. And that told me, okay, well, we should probably continue. Mm-hmm. And we got another partner involved who could financially back us. And really ever since then, We've just been developing, again, this education first, this sales second attitude, and it has done us very well. We've always been a company that focuses on research, on purity, and on high quality products, but teaching store staff in particular how to educate the end user, the consumer who walks in the store, how this product will help them, has gone a long way in developing Enzymedica, and it's something we're all very proud of now.
Well, because a lot of us, if you look at the back of a bottle, that's typically where we get most of our education.
Right.
How to, recommended usage or what the product might be for. I know that many of us, when we go into the health food market, when we're on the floor or we're talking to one of the people that work there, that's usually who we trust.
Right.
So if you guys are going in there and educating them, that's the first step.
That is what we've been doing for the last 13 years, is educating staff. Yeah.
Now, what's the difference between, let's say, Enzymedica's brand and another brand? Because, if you go into a store and you see enzymes, and I used to think this way, as you know, I used to think, okay, it's like a vitamin, right? You have a good vitamin, maybe if it's more expensive, it might be a little bit better. That's about all I really knew. I didn't know much.
Yeah. The difference is, there's a few key differences, but, the list is actually pretty long. I'll just give you maybe the top three. The first one that comes to my mind is we are the only company that sells in health food stores that focuses exclusively on enzymes. So when you see an Enzymedica product in a health food store, it is surrounded by other enzyme products. But all of those other enzyme products, all of them, are built and manufactured by vitamin companies or, let's say, cleanse companies or herbal companies. None of those other competing products are manufactured or designed by a company that exclusively focuses on enzymes. And that's very important, because literally everything we do at Enzymedica every day is centered around one category, and that is enzymes. And so we are the experts. There isn't anybody that can tell us anything about enzymes. I shouldn't say that. There isn't anybody that can tell us anything about enzymes that are vitamin companies. There are scientists and doctors and therapists that teach us every day, but none of them work for vitamin companies. So we have some great competitors and very high quality products out there, but nobody has the technology that we have built over the last 13 years. And so that's really the second thing I would mention, is that we have developed what I call a technology. It is a process in which we formulate and blend our enzymes that we call TheraBlend, which literally improves the efficacy and the potency of the product. It makes them better, and we can prove it. We've got a lot of data showing that an Enzymedica product works 3 to 6 times, even more better. I shouldn't say more better, 3 to 6 times better, and even more so than our competitors. And so this TheraBlend process, which we are constantly improving on, is something that really sets us apart. And finally, if I'm just going to mention the top three, the purity of the product. We have been a vegetarian company from day one. We have never used any animal products in our formulas. We are kosher when possible. About 80% of the line is kosher. We use no sterates, fillers, flowing agents, binders. And as a result of that, we are the purest choice on the shelf. And so, those are my top three. And I do think that those are all very important.
Well, and now can anybody at any age take an enzyme?